This is today's project. This is a light. This is the same light, except we've added a light to it. Today's project is going to be taking out the solar power and putting in a normal light. So let's get started. Okay, well, welcome back. This is a very big deal for me for two simple reasons. First is the first project in the new design center, workroom, whatever you want to call it. It's a shed with a bunch of tools in it, and it's air conditioned, it has great lighting, and we're all good. And this is also the first project after I officially have moved into this house. So what we're going to do today, what we said before, this is a light that came from Harbor Freight. No, I think this one came from Tractor Supply. It's about a year and a half, 2 years old. The LED worked for a while. The picture on my website actually shows the LED working. It was functional. But as these LEDs are, they're not made to last forever, and it's died. The light fits perfectly in the train station look that I'm trying to get. So I don't want to get rid of the light. So what I've done is I've taken one of these and made it a standard bulb with a standard socket. So today we're going to walk through how to make this a standard socket. On the first video from Scamphilla Workshed. So the first thing is you need a light source. So I have found this in my box of things. This is you plug it in. It came from Amazon ages ago. You plug it in and you have 3 light sockets that hang down. This seems to be the right size. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to put a bulb in this and I'm going to plug it in. The bulb is on. I'm now going to take, because these little sockets have a switch. I don't want the switch. I want to cut the switch off. But before I cut the switch off, I got to make sure the switch is on. And I keep it on. And I'm going to cut it off with the switch on to make sure it doesn't turn itself off. So I'm just going to go real close with my snippers. I'm going to cut that so it doesn't bother me anymore. The first thing is we have a light source. Now I'm going to unplug the light source, take the bulb out of the light source, and I'm going to cut it off the rest of it. It's now a light with a cord. I can see that at the very, very end of this, there's a little set screw right there. I'm guessing if I take this set screw out, these cords will come off, and they do. So now we're going to unravel the cord. Now I'm going to take off the covering that made it look fancy. We do not need the covering at all. Covering is now off. We'll throw that in our garbage can we have in the corner. Part of the work shed is you need a place to put garbage instantly. And we also have our workroom, if you haven't seen it, where we can do our electrical work by sitting down, soldering iron, like that. Right now we're focusing right here. So we now have our light. question is, how does this get in there. Because if you look, they didn't give us any holes. There's no holes to get from A to B. So the first thing we have to do that's plastic. That comes off. And this comes out. We have to take this light out. So let's get the light. Out of its space. The light happens to be plastic. The whole unit is metal. So we're going to take the light out. It appears they've only attached this light the same way that we're going to be attaching ours, by adding silicone. You want to be careful because even though it's plastic, it still can be sharp. So this has a bulb, silicone to the bottom of this. That's going in my newly made container of things I might use someday. Other than that, let's throw all that away. So now we have our light all cleaned up. This is the cool little tool. It spins, makes holes bigger. But it also works to get into the small spaces and cut off stuff like silicone. And make it cool the light able to take our new light. Now I've already done one of these, so I don't have to test to verify the light fits. But if you're using a light that you don't know about, you might want to put it in to make sure it fits in your hole, to make sure it's going to be successful. I also already know this light has 2 screws on it. So I have to make sure all this is screwed together. I am then going to take a piece of tape and tape the 2 sections that screw together to make sure they don't unscrew when I'm trying to take a bulb out, and then my bulb is stuck in there in such a way that I can't get it out. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be putting some silicone in this little groove and screwing this on. It'll be all nice and tight. Then we're going to put silicone on the top and seal it in even better and make it solid. Before we get to that point, however, we have to make holes. So we'll pull down a drill. We want a small drill bit for the main reason that we're going to be starting a hole someplace that has no flat area. Small holes are easier to start. So our goal is, since this is a straight run from here to here, we're going to drill a hole on this side. Small hole. Then we're going to take a long bit. Longer than it needs to be, but it works. Drill a bigger hole. And then we can go right down that and drill a hole on the other side. And we'll end up with a hole that goes through. My device that I have right here, I'm going to take a cloth, put around my piece so I don't hurt it. Play with it a couple ways. There we go. Move the cloth out of the way so I can get to the clamp. And I'm going to clamp myself down. Not super tight, because then I'll collapse my plastic, my metal, even though it's thin like plastic. So now I know where the hole is. I know where this is actually done and where to drill, because if you look right in the middle, you can see the indentations of where they heated the metal when they welded the pipe. If I look at the outside, I can see where those are. So I know in the middle of that is my actual hole I need to make. So I'm going to be drilling a hole right in the middle of those indentations. So there's my first hole. Now I take off the small drill bit and put on what I got, which is way too long. But the fact is it works for what I need to do. Now I'm into my pipe, right in the middle. Now I'm going to take my drill and drop it down through my pipe and drill a hole in the other half. So now I got a hole that goes through for my wiring. So now, once I have my hole, I will have sharp edges on my hole. That's where this comes in handy. If I go around this, it will actually cut the metal and get rid of the sharp edges that are on the hole. And I'm going to take a piece of heat shrink. I'm going to make that an extra little barrier. And put the wires through the heat shrink. And run that all the way to the end of the cord, so now I have an extra little barrier. And I'll take a little piece of tape and put right at the end so it stays where it belongs. Now I'm going to take my wires, and again, since I'm going through a hole like this, I'm going to tape up the end of the wires so they stay together and I have a very nice little point. Straighten them out, put them in my hole. Push them through. They come out the other side. Now if you notice, when I push this through, that's going to fit right in there. I'm almost done with this whole project. All you need to do is buy the light. I mean, right now they have a different version. And the fact is, you can't, to buy a light that's this design, that actually is designed and set up for the way this is going to be designed and set up to use, they're very expensive. And I'm using spare parts that are around the house. And I'm using that particular light. They used to be LED. The fact is, the light is not actually built bad. It's not falling apart. It's actually welded pretty good. Would I weld it better if I had electrical thrown through it? I wanted it watertight? Yes. But where I'm putting it, it's not in the rain. So now comes the fun part. I'm going to put a bulb in it. That's going to work as a little handle to move it around some. And everybody's case is different. It all depends on the light you choose to use, how the light goes in, how it installs. In my case, this light actually goes in and fits fairly good. And it stays right there. So now all I need to do is silicone it in place. I always get a paper towel, have it ready for those silicone disasters. Because if you notice, the silicone doesn't really fit. So I can't really get exactly where I need to be. So I'm going to have to do is hold the silicone with one hand and push on it with another hand. And notice I'm making a couple piles of silicone here and there to get it close. And then I'm going to have to get in there with a finger, because some things you just can't do any other way. It just doesn't happen. You need to have the control over it. And if you notice, my hand fits in there just perfect. Get there in there with a finger, and I push the silicone on all the way around. Put the light where I want it. Push the silicone down. And take up the extra gap. Don't need the bulb in there anymore. Get the silicone all the way around the light so it's sealed in nice. And then I will have extra. So I'm going to be taking the extra out. I put so much in because I wanted to be sure I covered everything and didn't have any spots that didn't have silicone. When you can't put it where you belong, the first try, I, in my experience, find the best thing to do is to put too much and take it out. There's another way for doing this. I could have taken the top piece off. That way I have a bigger spot to work in. The problem is, I would have to put the top piece on, which means now I'm taking this little simple project and it's become getting out the welder to re-weld the piece I took off so I could put all this together. I think that looks just fine. So that's what our light looks like. The only thing I gotta do now is I need to leave it. And I don't need to touch it. Okay, so it is now the next day. Now we're going to take our bulb. By the way, these bulbs I'm using come from a string light set. They're the spare bulbs you get in a string light set. They're only 1 watt. So I don't have to worry about overpowering, because at 1 watt you can run it practically off a battery. So, but these are true 120 volt bulbs. They are labeled. Every bulb is labeled. And you can look at the bulb, and right there you'll see the label. Probably can't see it in the camera, but 120 volts, 1 watt. It is a plastic LED bulb. So we're going to put our bulb in. Tighten it down. Nothing moves. We're going to take our wires, cut off our tape, place a little bit of wire. Again, this is the way I do things. Not recommended. I have a computer extension cord. Has nice square ends on the end. So it allows me to bend the wires over and I can fit it in there. To make a connection. And I can put it on the counter, or I'm nowhere near it. And I can plug it in. And my light lights up. So with the light lighting up, we're good. The switch stayed on. It's now buried under the system. Now we can take that off. Ready to go. Let's go install it. Now we're going to put this back exactly where it came from. You can see where the holes are that hold it in the wall, which are good enough. And I made a mark right in the middle where my holes should go. So I've already checked, I verified there's no wiring on the other side, I verified there's nothing I'm going to hit, it's just concrete. Now we're going to drill a hole for our wire. So now, since we've drilled our hole, what we need to do now is get a piece of wire, something that is very long and straight, and we're going to go from the back of the hole since we did use a long drill bit, a single long drill bit, it should be fairly straight right in to push it out. Voila. Okay, so now what we need to do, we're going to take our wires from our lamp. Now we're going to take the wires from our lamp and we're going to tape them to the wire we just put through. You don't want to tape them together. It's hard to run through a wire when you have a big bump of wire. So you want to tape one up, go back about an inch, and then tape the second one up. That way it gradually goes over one, and then it gradually goes over the other, and gets them both through. Now pull out your wire you made slowly, and voila. Our wire is now in the hole. We pull the wire through and put our screws back in to hold the light on the wall. This is an old red brick house. But I do want to use the same holes. I don't want to make more holes. Just use the holes we already have. There we go. Now a light is installed. Now all I have to do is splice this wire up to the same light circuit that this one is hooked to. And that is how the light would look. That's it. Our light project is done. It's a simple project. It is a very simple project to do, but it is something that might be very useful. And at the same time, it is the first project after we built our new work shed. So here's what our lights look like at night. They both light up what they're supposed to light up. Not too much, not too little. You got a little bit of light on the ground, as you see right there, and you get the light on the wall. That's exactly the look that I wanted. That's why I used the 1-watt bulb. As I always say, hope your projects are fun. Hope your projects will make you feel like you've accomplished something. If it doesn't make you feel like you accomplished something, hopefully the next one will. But have fun, and till next time. The next few videos are going to be all about trains, because I've started the trains. And remember, stay out of the psychiatric ward.